The 10-stop International Water Ski Tour at only 100 points separates Sammy Duvall from the tour leader, Mike Hazelwood, in men's jumping. Only 200 points between Camille Duvall and Karin Roberge in the women's slalom. Andy Mapple is pushing the leader, Bob Lapointe, in the men's slalom, with a difference of only 400 points there. And with 1,000 points awarded to today's winners, who will take the lead? Classic from Somerset, Kentucky, featuring the world's top competitors in professional water skiing. The 1985 Coors Light International Water Ski Tour is brought to you by Coors Light. Coors Light turns it loose with professional water skiing. Ski Supreme, the leader and innovator of world-class luxury for the demanding skier. And by Mastercraft, the standard by which all others are judged. The day has gone beautifully here in southeastern Kentucky on the shores of Lake Cumberland, the site of the 6th stop of the Coors International Water Ski Tournament. And of course, a huge crowd is expected to fill the beach here this afternoon. Hello again, everyone. Kevin Slayton along with Wayne Grimditch. And Wayne, the tour has been successful all year, and indicative of that is the closeness in each category of competition. The women's slalom, Camille Duvall, of course, the favorite. She's on top in the point standings, but she's not feeling well today. Yeah, she's got bronchitis and an ear infection. How that will affect her performance is difficult to tell. Susi Graham is coming off 2 consecutive wins. It'll be interesting to see if she can continue. On the men's side, Bob Lapointe has been in the lead ever since the tour began. He's still there, but Andy Mapple is pushing him. He's laying low and ready and right to make the upset, I think. Andy is sitting quietly and calmly on the sidelines, ready to strike. Bob is still leading, so he's risen to the occasion, but there are other skiers as well, Roberge, Kjellander, that look very tough. On the freestyle jumping, Scott Clack has won every tour stop. The question remains, can anybody out there beat him? Well, Scotty fell last week in his Mobius, so he is human. Aloe came very close in Phoenix. Again, it'll be an interesting competition. I think the men's distance jump probably has as close a competition as any of the categories. A number of skiers could win, although you have to look at Sammy Duvall and Mike Hazelwood at the top of the ladder. They are very tough. However, Lowe has been skiing very well. I've been very impressed with his performance. However, Mike and Sammy are not retired, so they'll be fighting for it today. Again, don't forget the Australians. They've been in the top 8. There's 3 of them there, and one of these days they're going to jump very far. I can't guarantee it today, but it might happen very soon. This is the type of course in the slalom, a 6-buoy course, that we may see a record set. This is a certified record capability site, and it's in nice conditions, good water. No wind at all, so that shouldn't bother the skiers, will it? The wind doesn't look like it'll be a factor, but you never know. All right, we're looking forward to an exciting day of skiing here at Lake Cumberland. We'll return to the Lake Cumberland Classic and the start of the Coors Light International Water Ski Tour with the men's slalom in a moment.
If your skiing requires something special.
Here at Lake Cumberland this afternoon, ideal weather conditions as Karin Roberge and Mike Kjellander go head-up against each other, and then Lowe and Andy Mapple will square off. All of this head-to-head competition. The winners will then advance to the championship. Mike Kjellander now at 35 off. Karin Roberge already through the course at this rope distance. So it's up to Kjellander to remain in the competition, and he has to have a very good run. As you said, Wayne, this by no means is a gimme at this rope distance. Notice his turn at number 1 here. His elbow's down in the water. His ski leaps out of the water and lands, and he gets a great turn and pull through the wakes. Again on number 3. Watch number 5 here. Ski jumps out of the water. It lands at a severe angle. He holds on and he makes it. It's really a wild turn. And it's not strange for him. That's the way he skis, and he's through there without any problem. Karin Roberge at 38 off, his best finish on the tour this year, a 2nd place finish at Palm Beach. This is a very difficult distance for any of the skiers, and let's see if Roberge can negotiate it cleanly. The crowd starts to play a role in it. He's around the 2nd buoy, and he loses control as he cruises through the wake. And we'll see if they give him the 2 full buoys, Wayne. It appears that they will. This is such a tough rope length. The rope is a half a foot short of the width of the course. 1 is very important. You don't want to come with too much speed. He gets not too bad a start, comes in a little narrow here and falls over. And what that does, it hesitates his ski, gets a little slack rope, and he can't hang on and pull out of it. It looks like a 1.5, which
is it's going to be, I think, fairly easy for Kjellander to pick up a full 2 buoys.
Yeah, I thought they might give him the full 2, but the 1.5 for Roberge leaves him in a precarious position. Kjellander now with just 1.5 to beat at 38 off. It's a tough distance. Anything can go wrong, although, as Wayne mentioned, you would expect Kjellander, the veteran that he is, to be able to get through this.
He gets such a great turn on number 1. I think he's going to get to 2 easily, as long as he doesn't get down in the water too much. Not too bad, and he'll just steer around 2, so he gets the full 2 buoys, and he advances to the next bracket.
So Mike Kjellander knocking off Karin Roberge in this semifinal round of head-to-head competition as he gets the full 2 buoys at 38 off, and he'll go into the championship round looking for his 3rd tour victory of the year. Our thanks to the Cumberland skiers for all their help this week. You can see the great crowd that has gathered here at Lake Cumberland for this classic here this afternoon. Lucky Lowe at 35 off. Now this could be the Waterloo point here. The skiers tend to start feeling it a little more at 35 off, and we'll see if Lucky can sail through the course as he did at the earlier distances.
The boat speed is a constant 36 miles an hour. Lucky starts, comes into number 1. His good side gets a good pull. Lucky has a very strong upper body strength. He's able to, whoa!
Has trouble around that 3rd buoy and did not get across the wake, and that's going to be a troublesome spot now because you have to feel that Mapple will handle it. Here's another look.
This is a very much of a surprise. 35 off, he's coming into a headwind, which lets you slow down a little better coming into the buoy, but he gets over just a little too far, and even though he's very strong, he couldn't hang on to that one.
A tough break for Lucky Lowe. 2.5 buoys at 35 off. Andy Mapple with his task right in front of him. He needs to beat 2.5 at 35 off, which is what Lucky Lowe put on the board. So in other words, he needs to go beyond that. 2.5 would tie him, and then they'd have the runoff. But for Andy Mapple, this should not be that difficult a thing to accomplish. But we thought Lucky Lowe would get through at 35 off also.
You never know with these shorter line lanes. The start's very important. Andy comes around number 1, a little slow, not too bad. Usually nails number 2, comes out of 2 well, cruises around 3, and now he'll try to make the rest of the course. Once again, the boat speed's 36 miles per hour. The boats hold a constant speed in a straight line down the center of the course. Both the Mastercraft and the Ski Supreme do that very well.
So Andy Mapple lets his skiing do his talking for him. He sails through at 35 off, and he'll advance into the championship round against Mike Kjellander. Kevin Slayton along with Wayne Grimden to Lake Cumberland, Kentucky. Jack Walker, one of the seasoned boat drivers, is down in that Mastercraft boat. The championship of the men's slalom. They'll start at 32 off instead of 28 off. Both skiers agreeing to go to that distance. And Kjellander, who is currently 3rd in the overall standings, needs a good run because he's in the water first. And Andy Mapple has already sailed into 38 off, clearing 4 buoys in his semifinal round. And Kjellander is through cleanly at 32 off. Andy Mapple now is currently 2nd overall on the tour in the men's slalom with his run at 32 off. In his semifinal round, as we mentioned, he cleared into the 38 territory. 4 buoys at 38 off, thinking that he would have to get that distance against Kjellander here in the championship round. His first run here at 32 off in the championship, Andy Mapple.
The reason these skiers have decided to start at a shorter line length is because of strength and energy towards the end on the shorter lines, and also I think it'll be easier for them to run 38 into a headwind.
So at 32 off, neither skier with a problem, and they'll move up to 35 off. Mike Kjellander at 35 off. Kjellander and Andy Mapple battling it out, squaring off head-to-head here. It's kind of strange in a men's slalom final not to see Bob LaPointe, but he was eliminated in the preliminary rounds yesterday by Karin Roberge. So Kjellander at 35 off.
Big strong Mike gets pulled out around number 2, and he's in trouble here. This is a big surprise.
He didn't get around number 4. He was able to recover to get outside of 3, Wayne, but number 4 he went inside of at 35 off, and as you say, a big surprise.
Well, he usually gets a great turn on his good side right there. Sometimes he gets down on the water too much, but he gets this bad turn on 2, gets pulled out, loses his angle, goes down course too far, and can't make it up on number 3 and runs inside 4. So what looked like a good strategy of changing up and going at a shorter line length to make 38 easier, he doesn't clear 35 off and makes it easy for Andy Mapple. At least it appears that way.
Well, Andy will tell you nothing's easy, but he would like to be in the position he's in. He needs only to beat 3 at 35 off, and that would tie him for the overall points lead with Bob LaPointe. So Andy Mapple has a very important run here on the tour so far to date this year.
What we have here is the finesse of Andy Mapple going against the strength of Michael Kjellander.
And Andy Mapple is your winner.
Very smooth, and he's got it around number 6.
Andy Mapple through the course at 35 off. He is the winner of the men's slalom. As this huge overflow crowd cools off in the water, the men's slalom is now in the books, and Wayne is standing dockside with a very happy winner who went for a world record today. Wayne?
Thank you, Kevin. I do have a very happy Andy Mapple. Andy, a fine effort this afternoon. I know you were a little disappointed earlier in the tour events. You had a sore neck from your jumping accident, but it didn't look like that was bothering you today.
No, to the season I felt like I had a real slow start. I was working real hard on my jumping, then things started to go wrong there. So the last few weeks I've been concentrating on my slalom, and I feel like it's coming back pretty strong.
It looked like finesse prevailed over strength today.
That's right. At the end there I really wanted to run 38 off because most of the other skiers have run 38 off here, so it's going to make a break, but I was pleased to get through there.
Congratulations again. We'll see you at the next stop.
Thanks a lot, Wayne. Thank you.
Back to you, Kevin.
All right, thank you very much, Wayne, and our congratulations to the winner of the men's slalom, Andy Mapple, who is now tied for the overall tour lead in points with Bob LaPointe. Mike Kjellander finishes 2nd, Karin Roberge 3rd, and Lucky Lowe finishes 4th. You know, one of the wonderful things about the International Water Skiing Tour and the competition is that at these tournament stops, it's not just competition. It's not all serious. And that's evidenced by the world champion trick skier that you're looking at now, Cory Pickos, Wayne.
This is Cory doing a 20-second pass in the traditional trick skiing event. Here he's doing some toe hold maneuvers, and needless to say, it's difficult to be a world champion in any event. It's particularly difficult in the trick skiing event. He spends a lot of time on the water, and he's got to have a dedicated boat driver, too.
I imagine the concentration level is very high, isn't it?
It sure is. He's a fantastic skier, very fast. He does over 20 maneuvers in 20 seconds.
The dynamic freestyle jumping is next. This is the final round. Dave Dotter will go out first. Mike Tolzmann, Joe Aloe, and this year, Scott Clack. Dave Dotter now, the tour rookie, in his first stop on the tour with a front flip. This will be his 3rd jump of the afternoon.
The front flip has become a very basic maneuver. A lot of the skiers take a very hard cut to the ramp to build a lot of speed, to get a long flip off. Here he is, dives forward. Nice effort. That was a nice jump.
Great distance for Dave Dotter. He got up there very high and carried it out far.
Scores are determined by 3 factors: form, distance, and degree of difficulty. They have 5 judges there, and they knock out the high and the low, and they score those 3, and then they put that into the formula to come up with a total score.
Mike Tolzmann now, currently 2nd on the tour in overall points in the freestyle competition, and he'll attempt a 720, his 3rd jump of the day, following a front flip and a gainer. You saw Scott Clack do his 720. And we'll be able to compare it with Mike Tolzmann's.
Now Mike is going another straight-on approach just like Scotty. However, he has the rope wrapped around him twice, so he doesn't have to hand-to-hand the last 360 portion. Just barely gets around. Stand-up landing, scores big on form points.
Now Joe Aloe with his 3rd jump of the day, a flip. He did a gainer and a Mobius in his first 2 attempts. 3rd of 4 jumps for Joe Aloe, currently 3rd on the tour in overall points.
Joe does the best long flip of the bunch. He has a record of 127 feet. He really gets a nice spring off the top. Watch this. There he goes.
Boy, he got way out there that time. Joe Aloe with a lot of distance, a lot of height, and that brought the crowd alive. Scott Clack now with a Mobius attempt after a gainer and a 720. Nobody has really challenged him yet on the tour this year. 5 stops, 5 victories. The unbeaten champion in the men's freestyle jumping. And here he comes with his Mobius.
Watch carefully here. It's a beautiful maneuver. He makes it look so easy, and
he really does.
And it's so difficult. He uses a little longer skis than some of the other participants, and that gives you a good idea of the twists and turns that he puts his body through here during the Mobius. Comes around, has time to spare, and skis away quite easily.
Very confident jumper right now, Scott Clack. The various jumps that these skiers perform are rated on points, and this is the breakdown. The helicopter and the reverse helicopter worth just 35, the front flip and the back flip 75, the back Mobius 100. So it starts to get up there in point totals at the back Mobius. The more difficult the jump, obviously, the more points. The 720 is also worth 100. A front Mobius 125, the 1080 150, and a double back Mobius 175 points, and we'll not see that today. Dave Dotter with his first tour stop jumping here this afternoon out of Tomahawk, Wisconsin. His 4th and final jump, a 720 for Dave Dotter. And it's nice to give him a shot in the arm, Wayne. He's done a good job here in his first tour of effort.
Now, he's come along very strong, particularly in the last 2 to 3 weeks. And this is an important maneuver for Dave right here. He can score some very high points.
Lost the rope in the air and then hit and lost control, but he's all right as he waves to the crowd, and that's the key thing. But that's a tough maneuver to pull off. There are the points for Dave Dotter. Of course, you throw out your worst jump anyway, and he'll just toss number 4 out. But not a bad debut for Dave Dotter out of Tomahawk, Wisconsin. Mike Tolzmann with his 4th and final jump, and it will be a Mobius. He's currently the in second place in the overall point standings in the men's freestyle, so he needs a good jump here.
Come on, Mike. Double wake, single wrap cut. Starts out, whoa!
Rough landing for him, and he lost the rope and a ski.
A game of inches.
Difficult jump for Tolzmann, and he nearly was able to straighten it out. And there is the story on Tolzmann today. A good day for him, and again, that 4th jump will just be tossed out. Joe Aloe with a 720 on his 4th and final jump. Following on the heels of a gainer, a Mobius, and a flip. Currently 3rd in the overall picture on the tour.
So cool. All right, Joe Aloe from West Palm.
Joe's approaching the jump in a double wrap position. He won't have to worry about hand-to-handing and holding on to the handle, but he will have to concentrate on standing straight up in the air, and he gets a little off his axis and can't hang on to the landing.
Fell to the left, was leaning left when he hit the deck, and so for Aloe, the same story for Dotter and Tolzmann, a fall on the final jump.
Right here, he springs and gets a little off to the left, and he just can't recover.
So that's the story for Joe Aloe. Again, a fall in the final jump, but you throw your worst jump out anyway, so from that standpoint, it wouldn't hurt him. Scott Clack with his final jump of the afternoon, a front flip. The defending champion, 5 victories in a row, all 5 stops on the tour. It's been a very impressive season for Scott Clack.
27 feet while he's doing a forward front.
Scotty is so talented. He has a lot of body control in the water. He seems very at home at it. Skis at Cypress Gardens every day, so he's used to doing these maneuvers, and it helps him get his practice and nail it down right every time. There you go. He twists a little bit towards the boat, but that's a nice front flip.
He had great distance, almost went out in front of the boat. He got up so high and so far.
It looked like he got a little turn towards the boat right after he springs here, but he straightened himself out on the latter half of the rotation, lands and skis away quite easily.
Scott Clack with his final point totals. He looks pretty good for his 6th consecutive victory as we total the points up for the 4 skiers. The men's freestyle jumping is now a victory for Scott Clack once again. It just keeps on going. 6 victories now out of 6 tries for Scott Clack, and he's dockside with Wayne.
Scotty, congratulations once again. You're making it look terribly easy out there, but you did have a few concerns today.
Yeah, I was concerned with the wind. I started my first gainer. I came around and I was spotting the water, and I was having a really hard time getting my skis back up underneath me. We've got about a 10-mile-an-hour headwind here, and when I started to do the 720, I lowered the boat speed a little bit so there wouldn't be so much pull from the boat, but luckily I came out of it all right.
Once again, well done. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot, Wayne.
Back to you, Kevin.
Thank you, Wayne, and congratulations to Scott Clack. He defeats Joe Aloe, who finishes second. Dave Dotter, the rookie, snuck into third ahead of Mike Tolzmann. We've got event. Everybody gathering to see the ladies hit the water. Camille Duvall, who leads the tour right now, Karin Roberge, they will square off head-to-head competition. And then Deena Brush and Susi Graham will battle it out in the other semifinal. Karin Roberge at 32 off. She must get through the course without a hitch because Camille Duvall is already through the semifinals of the women's slalom.
The boat speed here in the women's division is 34 miles an hour. The boat goes down the center of the course. The buoys are 37.5 feet from the center line. Karin gets a pretty good start. A little slack on 2. It slows her turn. Remember, if you get a little off balance, you've got to recover quickly because the boat doesn't wait for you. And she looks like she's stretching, and she gets it.
Karin Roberge, a little bit shaky at some points on the course that time, but nonetheless, she completes the pass without missing a buoy. And thus they'll force themselves to go to 35 off. And that could be the point where we'll have someone emerge victorious. Camille Duvall at 35 off. This is very, very difficult for the skiers to negotiate a 6-buoy course at this distance. And for Camille, even more so because of the illness that she has been feeling for the last 2 days. And vertigo is something very treacherous when you're out in the water going at these speeds, Wayne.
She has a 40-foot line here. She's going to have to get a good start. Oh, she gets pulled out. And that's going to end her pass. Once again, the start is so important at these shorter line lengths. The first buoy is closer to the gates than the other buoys are to themselves. Now here, she's eyeing number 1, stretches, comes around, and it looks like she just doesn't get back soon enough. The skier gets forward coming into the turn. When they grab the handle, they have to shift their weight back and away in order to have the ski accelerate away and head for the next buoy.
Officially 1 buoy at 35 off for Camille, and you have to wonder just how much that illness affected her run today. So she's down at 35 off with 1 buoy confirmed, and that will mean that Karin Roberge simply has to clear that first buoy and head for the second one, and she'll have the victory over Camille here in the semifinal round. Here is Karin at 35 off. She doesn't have a very difficult task, and that's the advantage of going second in the competition.
There you see Karin hanging out, waiting for the gates. Cuts diagonally through them. Now she can't be too tentative here. Comes it, and look, she's got it. So she'll advance to the next round.
And she doesn't even attempt to clear the course. That would simply be wasted effort. So Karin Roberge has defeated Camille Duvall. As Camille falls after 1 buoy at 35 off, Karin clears 2, and she'll move into the championship round. The most visible people in the water, of course, the skiers that help a tournament get going from start to finish, but equally important in getting it over with are the tour judges, the chief judge, Tony Baggiano, the tournament chairman, C.W. Lowe. All of these people work very hard. Beverly Owen, Mary Gail Holcomb, Danny Greenfield, Joe Burkhead, Bob Harris, Nancy Robertson, Beth Brown. They all are out there day in and day out. Carol Lowe and Jack Walker, who drives the boats, and Bob Long, and then the technical controller, Ed Brazil. So our thanks to all of these people for a job very well done. At 35 off, Deena Brush. Well, this could be the distance that will end this semifinal. It ended the first one when Camille Duvall fell around the first buoy. We'll see now as Deena Brush, the first in the water at this distance, if she can get through the course. And if she does, without a problem, she'll really put pressure on Susi Graham.
You can't overemphasize the start at these shorter line lengths. Here she gets pulled out on round 2.
She made it around 3, but not back to the wake. Still standing and did a good job to keep her feet. And we'll wait and see officially how many buoys they give her. But that will be the mark that Susi Graham has to shoot for.
Now, for her to get a complete buoy, she'd had to get in to the middle of the wakes before the next set of boat gates. She did not. It looks like she got 2.5 officially at 35 off.
And that's the mark that Susi Graham has to top. Susi into the water now. She needs to get more than 2.5, or at least 2.5 to tie, but more than 2.5 to win. Certainly within her reach. But she's not skied well today so far.
Not a good start. Here she's pulling hard, though, for number 3. She's turning ahead. She's got it.
So Susi Graham has knocked off Deena Brush. She was shaky all through the competition, but when it got to 35 off, it was perhaps her best run, Wayne. She really stuck in there. 4 buoys at 35 off for Susi Graham, so it'll be Susi Graham and Karin Roberge to decide the title here at Lake Cumberland. We had the opportunity to chat with Karin Roberge about her situation, trailing Camille Duvall by only 200 points and what she'll have to do to take over the lead.
Well, take over lead ahead of Camille, I guess I probably have to ski my best and take first place, which would be really nice. And I'm feeling pretty confident, and I'm ready for competition.
And now the skiers start to feel the pressure just a little bit, because each distance from here on out is that much tougher and that much more challenging to the skiers. We could see a fall at this distance.
She looked a little rough on number 1 there. Looking better here at 3, although she breaks forward the waist, pulls hard across the wake. Shorter line lengths mean the skier has to turn sharper and accelerate and pull harder and longer to get to the next buoy, but she makes it.
So Karin Roberge applying the pressure to Susi Graham now through the course at 32 off. Susi Graham in the water now at 32 off. Karin Roberge completing her turn at 32 off. So for Susi Graham, the task is clear. She must get through the course without any problems in order to stay in the running for this championship here in Lake Cumberland. And it would be her 3rd consecutive tour victory. And Wayne, that pretty much will intimidate some other skiers as she keeps racking up the victories in succession like she has.
She's been a surprise. She's a little late on 1, really pulls hard on 2. We'll see if she can make it up here.
So far she has. She has demonstrated a tremendous ability to recover today.
It's unbelievable. She got a great number 5, and that really made it up for her. Got her around 6, and she moves on, but she's been skiing very rough, but continues to make the course, and that's all that counts.
She's been able to recover against Deena Brush first, and now against Karin Roberge. At 35 off, Karin Roberge. None of the women skiers have made it through the course completely at 35 off today thus far, either in the semifinal round, and now we begin here at 35 off in the championship round. So we'll see how far down the course Karin can get.
This is a very difficult pass, only a 40-foot line, boat speed 34 miles an hour. The start is crucial. Got to get wide, but not too fast. She gets a slow 1. She's going to have to really struggle here.
She just got around 2, but can't get outside of 3, and we'll wait and see officially what they give her. But Karin Roberge at 35 off has a little bit more trouble than she did in her semifinal. They'll give her 2 at 35 off, and Susi Graham must top that. So it's right in front of Susi Graham. She must defeat Karin Roberge, 2 buoys at 35 off. That's the mark Karin put up there. And for Susi Graham to do that, it would mean her 3rd consecutive tour victory. And here she comes at 35 off with a chance to put that 3rd one in the books. She's around the 1st one without any problem. Heading into the 2nd one, has trouble, and I don't think she made it, Wayne.
I think that's 1.5. I'm surprised because she got a slow start. She came to 2 in not too bad a condition, but then she really pulled hard, and she should have at least cruised 2 to tie Karin in order to go out again. Number 1, very important. The objective is to get wide, but not with too much speed. There she gets a slow turn. She's pulling long, which brings her into 2 a little fast. She dips her shoulder, and she can't hang on to the slack rope, and she only gets 1 and then 1/2.
So the winner is Karin Roberge. Susi Graham had it in front of her, and as you say, Wayne, you'd think that conservative skiing there might have been the course to take. All right, the women's slalom competition is now in the books, and let's go dockside to Wayne Grimditch, where he's standing by with the winner.
Thank you, Kevin. Karin, outstanding performance. You look very smooth out there. That's your 2nd tour win and puts you 100 points in the lead. How do you feel about that?
I feel fantastic. I felt really smooth and confident today, and I think that's what it took to win, because the water, it was a little windy today, but I just felt like I was skiing at my best. So.
Well, it looked great. Best of luck in the upcoming events.
Thank you very much, Wayne.
Back up to you, Kevin.
All right, Wayne, thank you very much. Our congratulations to Karin Roberge. She is the winner in the women's slalom event. Susi Graham finishing 2nd, Deena Brush 3rd, and Camille Duvall coming in 4th. Jumps, bumps, and thrills with the men's distance jumping coming up next on the USA Network from the Lake Cumberland Classic. Chance to talk with him about the size difference.
Sammy, many people watching these tour events might get the idea that
Bruce Neville, Glenn Thurlow, Sammy Duvall, and Mike Hazelwood. All right, Bruce Neville, the Australian, into the water for his first jump. Still 178 feet is the top jump of this tournament so far. You can see what Neville is capable of doing, though. 196. His top jump of his career.
Getting ready to go. Let's give him that wall of sound that the competitors love to hear.
Bruce is another Australian that has very solid technique, good jumping ability. Not a bad opening jump, slides out a little bit, misses his spring. But here again, as I mentioned in the outset of our show, there are 3 Australians in the top 8, and they all have a good jumping style, and one of them's going to jump very far in one of these tournaments, and it could be today.
163 for Neville on his first jump. And he was leaning to the right as he went over the ramp, so despite not perfect techniques, he still got it out there pretty well. Bruce Neville now attempting his second jump, 163 on his first jump, and they're all still gunning for Mike Morgan, who's made his jump stand up. He was the first jumper in the water. He went out at 178, and that still stands right now as the leading jump of the day.
Bruce is out very wide. Again, this width gives you time to generate speed to the bottom of the ramp. The impact at the bottom of the ramp is greater than on the landing.
He got it up there.
That's a better jump.
He got it out there that time. I'm certain he went beyond the 170-foot mark that time, and it's just a matter of how much further he went. 179 feet, that is a new leader, Bruce Neville, by 1 foot over Mike Morgan. Glenn Thurlow into the water, another Australian, and he currently holds the world record of 202 feet. That's really pushing it out there.
Glenn, needless to say, is a very excellent jumper. He took a bad fall earlier in the season and is still having some problems with some ribs, but if he gets his cut in order, he has a great spring. Let's watch his opening jump. Nice aerodynamic position in the air. That looks pretty good to me.
That may be the new leader right off the bat. Thurlow really pushed it out there, carried himself well beyond the 170 mark, and he needed to beat 179.
Here we go. Great spring. Once again, he just arches up over his skis. He really has sound technique, and that's a terrific opening jump.
186 feet and a new leader, Glenn Thurlow. And he was moving when he hit the ramp.
Well, I guess the ribs weren't bothering him too much on that one, huh?
Not at all.
Off the top of the ramp.
Glenn Thurlow with his final jump. He has the lead with that first jump of 186. You think he's pushing for the record, Wayne?
I think he'll be cutting harder on this jump. Going for the record, I'm not sure, because sometimes when you try to go too hard, things fall apart. Here he's turning very well, comes across the wake. I don't know.
Really stretching out.
That one's hard to say. I think maybe we're looking at his first jump as being the best.
He's right around the 180-foot mark again, but all 3 of them in that 180-foot range.
His right ski flew up in the air coming across the wakes there and threw his position off at the bottom of the ramp, and not as good a lift as on the first jump.
But not by much of a difference, 184 feet on that. So Thurlow very consistent, 186, 182, and 184, and that 186 puts him in the lead. Kevin Slayton and Wayne Grimdich, and we'll be coming back with more of the thrill behind Mike Hazelwood. How he feels about today's chances, here's what he had to say.
Well, Wayne, I really feel good about my chances for the fact that I don't feel like I've skied quite up to par so far this year. I've ended up with 1 first, several seconds, and I really think I should put it together for a big win today.
Sammy Duvall for his second jump, and he needs to push it this time, Wayne.
Here he's swinging out, heading toward the 600-foot buoy, which gauges his turn for the counter cut. He turns very hard, which will swing him way out in front of the boat. He likes to be further out in front so he can turn back and angle his skis severely and really set them in a groove for the jump. There he comes off a much better jump, although even though his legs looked like they were straight off the end, his skis still split on the jump. Another look. Take a look at the width of his skis there. They are wide. It's hard to tell from a side angle, but that's still not the usual Sammy Duvall lift.
Sammy Duvall with his final attempt, and he needs to push it beyond 178. 186 is the mark that Thurlow posted. And Sammy has his work cut out for him here today if he is to win this jump competition.
Sammy really needs to get fired up on this one and get his body position together before the bottom of the ramp. Bring his shoulders back a little bit, bring his skis together. Watch closely here.
And up he goes.
He got the spring this time.
I don't know. That's going to be very close.
He got it out there pretty far.
We'll have to wait on the final distance.
Here's another look.
He looked better at the bottom of the ramp to me, but it's still not the usual spring that Sammy's capable of getting.
181 feet for Sammy Duvall. That will put him in second place alone, but will not overtake Glenn Thurlow for the top spot.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Mike Hazelwood leading Sammy Duvall by only 100 points, and we wondered of Mike what it would take for him to maintain his lead in today's competition.
What I'm going to be trying to do is get out wide of the boat and maintain my cut all the way into the ramp. If I don't cut into the ramp, I don't get my lift, and that's where I'm lacking. So really, basically, it's going to be a late cut, knees bent, with my back up, and try and get the speed along with the lift. If I get good pull off the top of the ramp, then I float better, you know.
Mike Hazelwood with his second jump after going 178 on the first one. Remember, 186 is the mark he needs to beat, and he's the final jumper. Glenn Thurlow posted that mark. Hazelwood with 2 victories on the tour this year.
on the wire today, coming through Mike Hazelwood on his countercut, waiting till the last.
Mike's out very wide here, slowing down, turning his skis off. He's late here.
Up he goes.
Not a bad lift.
Punched it out there pretty far, even though he was late approaching the ramp.
Looks like he's still kind of just running right out of speed after he hits the...
But I don't think he surpassed Thurlow's 186. Here's another look.
Now he flies up coming across the wake a little bit and slows him down. He's not really in a good position and not out there quite as far as he might have if he had a little stronger cut.
181 for Hazelwood, so he's creeping ever closer to Glenn Thurlow. Right now, that 181 puts him in a tie for second with Sammy Duvall. Mike Hazelwood with his final jump of the day, and he's got to beat 186 if he indeed is to be crowned champion today. Thurlow's mark sitting there staring at him.
This is going to be no small feat. Mike's really got his work cut out for him here. As long as he stays wide, he looks pretty wide here. Doesn't want to slow down too much. You just have to build that speed back up. He's a little bit in the hole. He's late.
Crowd is really behind him. He sailed it out there.
Jump.
That might have done it. That might have done it on the final jump of the day.
Oh my goodness, that was a great effort. Last chance. Looks like Hazelwood might have pulled it out. Really was cutting late. Got a good extension off the end of the ramp.
189 feet, and Hazelwood on the final jump of the day is the champion.
Mike comes off with the skis fairly well spread, but once again he relies on his speed to the ramp, and he had a lot of it, believe me. Good stand-up landing, he comes through. What a great effort. 189 feet and 68 miles per hour at the bottom of the ramp.
And he did it on the day's final jump. All right, the men's distance jump is now final, and the winner, Mike Hazelwood, after waiting to the last moment. He put it all together on his final jump of the afternoon. Let's go down dockside to Wayne, where he's standing by with the winner. Wayne?
Mike, another display of awesome jumping power. You didn't want to leave it up to your last attempt, though, did you?
No, I really want to do it on the first one. I try hard on the first. If I can't get it, I change to the second. I just kept cutting later and later, and finally the last one was do or die, and luckily it went together for me today.
Great job. Congratulations again.
Hey, thanks a lot. I've been losing on TV, so I want to do good on TV, you know.
Back up to you, Kevin.
Thank you very much, Wayne. Congratulations to Mike Hazelwood. Here are the numbers. Mike wins it. Glenn Thurlow second, Sammy Duvall third, and Bruce Neville fourth. From here in Lake Cumberland, Wayne, the 1985 Coors Light International Water Ski Tour goes on to the Dayton Hydro Bowl in Dayton, Ohio. Then the tour moves on to the Ironman July 20th and 21st at Oak Mountain State Park in Birmingham, Alabama. We'll see you again August 3rd and 4th from the Tournament of Champions at Champion Lake in Shreveport, Louisiana. And remember, this is where Bob LaPointe broke the world record last year in the men's slalom event. Then it's the big finale, the Indianapolis International Championships on August 24th and 25th at White River Park in Indianapolis, Indiana. Be sure to come out and see these exciting water ski events. Back here at Lake Cumberland, Wayne, I guess the biggest surprise of the tournament was that Bob Lapointe was not in the finals of the men's slalom, but other than that, it went pretty much as scripted.
It did. When we have some repeat winners, Karin Roberge won again. Mike Hazelwood won for the third time. I was really excited about the men's jumping. The 6-foot jumping, we had some long jumps out there. The Australians came on strong, and once again, Hazelwood came through on his last attempt.
Do you like to see a skier go down to the last attempt like that? That's not good advice, is it?
You don't like it as a skier yourself. As a spectator, it's fantastic. So it's Hazelwood was nervous about it, but he can come through in those situations.
All right, the 6th stop on the Coors Light International Tour is now completed. Another successful stop here in Lake Cumberland, outside of Somerset, Kentucky. For Wayne Grimditch, I'm Kevin Slayton saying so long for now. The 1985 Coors Light International Water Ski Tour has been brought to you by Coors Light. Coors Light turns it loose with professional water skiing. Ski Supreme, the leader and innovator of world-class luxury for the demanding skier. And by Mastercraft, a statement of excellence. A promotional consideration and/or fee has been provided by Somerset-Pulaski County Tours Commission. Somerset and Pulaski County is the northern gateway to America's new Big South Fork recreation area. And by Freestyler world-class ski lines. Quality is Freestyler's #1 feature. Freestyler offers world-class slalom, trick, jump, and barefoot equipment. Champions choose Freestyler, shouldn't you?